Next, we have a favorite of many here in this state, conservative business leader bringing his experience to Congress. He's the son of a police officer and a wonderful mom who balanced both family and work. He joined Pride Mobility Products in 1988. That's a small healthcare products manufacturer at the time, but he helped it grow into the worldwide industry leader in power mobility products. In 2019, he was sworn in as a member of the 116th Congress representing Pennsylvania's 9th Congressional District. He is Congressman Dan Meuser. You love him. He's here with us today. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. Well, all right. I hope everybody's awake this morning. Let's get this thing going, huh? Some great early speakers. Heather, great job. Stacey Garrity doesn't get any better than our treasurer, does it? Come on. You were giving her standing ovation a little while ago. So the clock is ticking, so I'm gonna get going here. I want to thank Lohman Henry for bringing us all together today. I want to thank the Leadership Conference. I want to thank all of you. Folks, I don't have to tell you, we have many important months ahead of us. 2024 is going to be the most important election, I don't care what anybody says, of our lifetime, and these are serious times, and I wrote these remarks with this in mind. We've heard the phrase, it's always darkest before the dawn, right? You've heard this phrase, but do you believe it? Well, we should believe it because in the United States of America, this phrase is part of our history, and we have lived through it, from the darkest night to the brightest dawns. Our nation lived through the Revolutionary War, fought here in Pennsylvania, Civil War, Depression, 2 world wars, Korea, Nam, Iraq, Afghanistan, 9/11, COVID. It was pretty dark until we saw the dawn. We made it from Jimmy Carter to Ronald Reagan. That was a rough one. And we made it from Obama to Trump. And right now, folks, it's just pretty damn dark out there. The Biden administration has created countless crises related to our national security and our economy. I'm seeing them from the first row in Congress. Regarding our national defense, our military recruitment is way down and wokeism is way up. From the debacle of Afghanistan to the war in the Ukraine, Iran, the Middle East, to tensions with China, there's a complete lack of respect from our allies worldwide and disrespect from our adversaries. And this disrespect is dangerous and creates risk for the entire world. The world needs America to lead. And right now, we are not leading. We are not even leading from behind. We have a Chamberlain-esque policy of appeasement. We have a border crisis that is an unmitigated disaster under Biden. I've been there 4 times. The president has given it drive-bys. We have nearly 10 million illegal crossings. Insane. 1.6 million gotaways. Why would someone that could cross receive phones and food and money and transportation cross on that sort of basis? The only reason is because they're criminals. Over 400 on the terror watch list. Human trafficking, drugs, over 100,000 deaths a year. You know the numbers. As well, we have an energy policy that can be best described as gas backwards. Let's face it, when it comes to energy and national security, the Biden administration puts Tehran over Tawanda and Venezuela over Pennsylvania. Once again, gas backwards. As well, the economic policies of this administration, the wildly excessive spending and the assault on domestic energy continue to drive up inflation, making gas and groceries literally unaffordable for countless American families. And of course, a response to inflation has been the interest rate spikes, which has caused housing issues, car sales issues. The typical American family is spending $900 to $1,000 more a month out of their disposable income just in the last 4 years under the Biden administration. Under Trump, listen to this, under Trump, family savings were at the highest point ever in our history, and family debt was at its lowest. Now it's reversed. Debt for families is at its highest point ever, and savings is at its lowest point ever. That's the state of affairs for most of our American families. Small businesses are suffering. Their sales may be up in many cases, but their margins are down, their profits are down, and that makes their revenues collapse. As a matter of fact, the small business tax revenues are down over $200 billion in 2023, contributing, of course, to our deficit and our debt. The service on our debt in the United States of America when Biden came into office was $350 billion. This year, it will exceed $870 billion of your taxpayer money being paid just for service on the debt. And next year is going to be worse under the Biden, if hold on, if the worst occurs and Biden actually puts his budget through, crime is raining down on us in our cities and in our rural communities. According to the left's ideology, jails and walls don't work. The left's deadly and destructive social experiment is failing miserably. In D.C., carjackings are up over 100%. Everything is on the rise. Smash and grabs is regular business in the streets. I've witnessed it myself. Philly, New York, and Chicago, no different. And this is caused by the radical left's reductions in police funding. It's a real simple formula. Over the past several years, they've reduced by hundreds of billions of dollars. And the prosecution rate in these cities, in many cases, is below 30%. 30% of violent criminals are being prosecuted in the city of brotherly love, for instance, Philadelphia. I have a bill to hold prosecutors accountable, to enforce the laws, so prosecutors aren't just officials elected by radical left donors like George Soros and his son, but they actually will be forced to prosecute. The Biden administration is doing its best to ignore this crime crisis. It took strong pressure from us even to get Biden to mention Laken Riley's name at the State of the Union. Disgraceful. Who was, of course, tragically murdered by an illegal immigrant with 11, if not 12, arrests on his record. Insane. I was asked last week on Mornings with Maria if Donald Trump would win Pennsylvania. I gave several data points as to why he would win. However, perhaps the strongest reason is what happened in New York recently. If you recall a couple of weeks back, of course you do, Trump attended the funeral service of NYPD officer Jonathan Diller, who was slain in the line of duty. Meanwhile, Biden was 25 miles away attending a huge fundraiser with the Clintons and the Obamas. How out of touch can you be? Not even was a call made to the family of Jonathan Diller, who left behind a wife and a one-year-old son. That story itself should keep people from voting from this man that's currently occupying our White House. Trump will win Pennsylvania because the voters know we must drastically change course. Biden claims he's doing a great job. And all the problems are caused by the Republicans and the evil, greedy private sector. A vote for Biden is a vote for today's state of affairs times 2, the sum of which is a disastrous hole we may not be able to climb out of. As well, huge left-wing Democrat donors, who in my view can best be described as anarchists, such as George Soros and his son, literally pay for such weak on-crime prosecutors. They bankrolled their campaigns. And worth mentioning, of course, is the Biden's family scandals. Millions and millions of dollars received in the family member bank accounts that went to great lengths to be hidden. They did everything they possibly could to hide these accounts, and money pouring in from the darkest, most nefarious parts of the world. And Joe says he knew nothing about it. Yet there are pictures, White House logs, phone calls, eyewitnesses, emails, voicemails, you name it, that prove otherwise. We know the payments were made to the Biden family members and indirectly to Joe Biden. This is a fact. What we don't know, and we will continue to investigate, is what was received for those payments. Under the Biden administration, our freedom is being eroded by weaponized Department of Justice, and the media spins, downplays, and covers it up in the most shameless of manners. The idea that the courts are so outrageously biased against Donald Trump, right, Biden's political opponent, and the left's continuous attempt to remove Donald Trump and other opponents, like RFK, from the ballot, are truly the real threats to our constitutional republic. In every instance that I know the full background on a story these days, the media has it 50%, if not 100% wrong. I asked President Trump once, I said, Mr. President, how do you stand the misinformation, the fake news? And you know what he said to me very calmly? He just said, because I know the truth. I know the truth. I know what the truth is. By the way, I'm going to try this joke on you. How many in the media does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is none. Joe Biden tells them it's changed, and they all applaud in the dark. Jeffrey likes that one. That's good. So, you know what, though? If the fake news wants to stop being referred to as fake news, stop being fake. That would work. But folks, dawn is coming. It comes after we're at our darkest point, and as it has throughout our history. Because in 24, we are going to elect a new president, and that president is going to be Donald J. Trump. We're also going to win the Senate. Dave McCormick will be our next United States Senator from Pennsylvania. And frankly, any vote for McCormick's opponent, Bob Casey, is a vote for the Schumer-Biden left-wing, open border, anti-American Bidenomics agenda. We will keep and grow the Republican majority in the U.S. House. We have a number of pickup opportunities, and we got to make sure that we reelect patriots like my friend Scott Perry and many others in our delegation. And me too. Well, reelect me. Hey, under Trump, let's look back a little bit. Our national security, our military, the funding was there, the recruitment was there, enthusiasm was there, patriotism was way up. Our energy policy, we weren't just independent, we were dominant, on our way to world dominance. Our border was secure. And you know what? Mexico cooperated, whether they liked it or not. Our position of strength with our allies and adversaries was intact. We were feared and respected. The world was at peace. The Abraham Accords were signed. ISIS was wiped out. Today, the Middle East is in chaos. Under Trump, Russia was stagnant, and we had favorable trade deals with China. And regarding our economy, we remember it well. No inflation. It was less than 2%. Interest rates were low. And we had exceptional trade agreements once again, which helped our manufacturing grow. And let's say it again. The world was at peace during the entire 4 years of President Trump. You know, some people want to say that Putin would not have invaded the Ukraine if President Trump would have been in office. I'll just say this. We don't know that for sure. But one thing we do know, they did not invade when Donald Trump was in office. Russia did invade under Obama and under Biden, the Ukraine. So that we do know. So we together in Pennsylvania have a lot of responsibility. We're going to be playing a huge, important role, just as we have throughout history. So it should be no different for us. First, we've got to come together as Republicans and close ranks. We must get all Republicans, all independents, all traditional Democrats that aren't buying into this woke stream of thinking, to vote for America. And that means voting Republican in 2024. The data is in. If we can get those who are undecided and unlikely Republicans, as well as so many Republicans have been really upset by the past elections that they feel their vote doesn't count, we do all of this. We reach out to these potential voters. We make sure that they vote. We're going to win by a landslide. You know, mail-ins must be maximized. We lost mail-ins in 2020 by 4-1. And in 2022, we lost mail-ins by 4-1. Okay? That's a big problem. That needs to be improved by maybe 5%. We improved that to 3-1, just 3-1. And again, unlikely voters. That's 130,000 Republican votes, just improving mail-ins by 5%. So we need to be pushing it. If there's a 1% chance somebody can't show up on Election Day, they need to get an application and they need to vote early. In-person vote early or mail-ins. We can do this. We have the candidates, we have the message, we have the policy, we have the plan, we have the past results of these policies delivering a better America. So we need you to volunteer. We need you to volunteer in your county campaigns. We need your county parties. We need poll watchers. You saw Heather Henry up here a little while ago. We're working on putting together poll watcher training. So you can be an authorized and licensed poll watcher. You can be in there counting the mail-in ballots. So please, if you're interested, let's talk. I recently wrote a letter to the Secretary of State demanding that we get clarity on election laws and rules. I'm also taking additional steps in Washington to protect the ballot. Let me see here. To protect the ballot and the integrity of elections with some legislation that asks for a mandated requirement for citizenship in order to vote. Now, that's in the Constitution, but we're going to enforce it on a statewide basis. So, and what this bill will also do, it will enhance the penalties for transmitting fraudulent ballots in federal elections by the use of ballot drop boxes. So we're actually doing a lot. We need you to volunteer for the United States to remain the America that we love. I mean, let's face it, that's what's coming down here, because we are truly the last great hope for freedom for our nation, for our posterity, for the world. So God bless you. Thank you very much.